Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. Happy Monday to you guys, and I do hope we all had a wonderful weekend out there. I'm so excited to be with you here this morning as we are going to be taking another fresh new look at the financial market as we head into the first trading day of the week. Well, as usual, the Forex Money Mastery is a platform where we do come together to do follow-up reviews of my weekend videos. So let me state here that it is very important that you have watched my weekend videos, as whatever we will be doing today is definitely going to be in follow up to what I talked about during the course of the weekend. So for those who have not watched the videos, then I will suggest that you watch them so you can have a background knowledge into what we will be talking about today. As the Forex Money Mastery, we only discuss on the 1 hour time frame, which happens to be our execution time frame. And if in any way you've missed out on those videos, well, you can check right in the description box of this current video you are watching. You will find the links to the asset we will be looking at for this week. Now, for this week, we have three major assets which we are going to be deliberating on, and in fact we're going to be monitoring throughout the course of the week. And these are the US OILSPOT, the GBPUSD, and of course my favorite asset, which is the XAUUSD. And in fact, on since the prior to this, I've already done a detailed analysis on all of the assets, on all of these assets to be sorry about that. I just realized that my mic was off. So a follow to in preparation for today's trading session, I've already done a comprehensive analysis that is a follow-up detail on that asset. And for those of us who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, must have gotten an update into how we are going to be managing our positions this morning based on how market participants has reacted to this current structure. Hold on a second, please. I'm just trying to sort out some technical issues here. Okay. Please hold on a second, please. I'm trying to... So, like I was saying, in preparation for today's trading session, I've done a comprehensive analysis on all of these assets on our watch list using simple and fundamental tools such as trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to unravel the potential trajectory of price action this morning. So, stay tuned in so you don't miss out on any of the ideas we will be deliberating on today. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm very glad to have you around. I know you will be wondering what this is all about. Well, the Forex Money Mastery is a platform where we, as technical traders, usually come together and gather as a community on a daily basis to engage in follow-ups and reviews of our current positions. If we do have any, and prepare ourselves ahead of both the London and the New York session. The session usually kickstarts officially 9:05 a.m. West African time, 8:05 a.m. UTC, and in fact I do recommend that you stay tuned in so you don't miss out on any of the valuable ideas we will be sharing today. My aim is to equip you with the knowledge and skills necessary to make independent trading decisions. Now, the more time you spend with us here, the better you will become in comprehending our analytical approach and utilize the information you gather here to make your own trading decisions and strategies. So once again, a warm welcome to you, and I encourage you to engage in the comment sections. So with that being said, here we will be diving right into the business, and as usual, the first thing we normally do is to check on the economic calendar. And for those of you who have been with me for a while now, you know how important this checking the economic calendar is, as these fundamental factors usually manifest on the charts in technical patterns and price movement. Now, by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns on the chart, hereby giving us the valuable information needed to position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential move prior, during, and even after this economic event. Now, for those of you who watch my video during the course of the weekend, you will see that we have a week jam-packed with a series of high impactful events that everyone in the market will be looking forward to. And one of the most important one is the interest rate decision coming in from both the United States and the United Kingdom later in the week. And we do know that the anticipation of this event usually affects the market sentiment and in the long run dovetail into the reflection of price action on the chart. So as technical traders, based on this, we want to see how the market will be anticipating this event. However, for today, Monday, December 11th, we do not have any high impactful event to look out for. So what we will be doing here today is to see if we can identify any medium impactful event. At least let us have an insight into what majority in the market are looking forward to. So I will include a medium impact event, and let's see what we have here on Monday. So despite including the medium impact event, there are no events to look out for today. So what we will be doing right now is to rely on our technical skills and use that to position ourselves for the next move. So with that being said here, we shall be diving right into the chart, and the first asset, as usual, usually takes some time before it loads up, so I will just click on it and let's wait for a couple of seconds before it loads up while I run through the comment section. So here in the comment section, I can see Simon Bayone. Good morning to you, Simon. Glad to have you around. Jonah Aruna, good morning to you. Torres Master says it's another wonderful day for the price action and the starting of a good week. Thank you very much. I love that narrative. Thank you very much. Simon Bayone, once again, good morning. Eric Mudavadi, good morning to you too. I do hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. So welcome back to another edition of the Forex Morning Mastery. So here we have the chart loaded up right now. So the first asset we are going to be looking at this morning is going to be the USOILSPOT, and in fact we do have some interesting setup going on in the market right now. And in fact, this asset was one of the most successful trades for us during the previous week. Remember that we scooped in over 600 to 700 pips from multiple sell entries. Then later on during the week, we begin to see some buy pressure resume, which we of course took advantage of into the last trading day of the week. And right now we have some interesting setup unfolding on this chart. Now, let me remind you all, I never shared a video on the USOILSPOT during the course of the weekend, so you wouldn't be seeing any videos on my platform. So what we are going to be doing today is to do a top-down analysis on this asset and see how we got to this point on this chart. Now, before we go into the top-down analysis of these assets, I would like us to have a quick review of the fundamental factors that are likely going to be affecting the market sentiment for this week. That is, what are the market participants looking out for, and in fact, what has been driving the market sentiment in recent time as we head into the new week. Well, during the Asian session, we saw that the week started with a bullish momentum, and for me, I still think that this momentum still lacks um, the the traction needed to push price to the upside. So we do have some levels we've identified that will make us feel comfortable in a buy position, which we will be talking about in a moment. Then another factor that we want to take into consideration is the strong NFP that came in on Friday. Remember, the NFP data came in beyond all expectations. I think about 199,000 compared to the expectation of 180,000, which for us is a significant signal that the US economy is still very, very resilient. And this latest development has prompted some optimism over the outlook for increased demand in the US, that is in the US, the oil sector of the US. And when there is a buoyant economy, that means there is activity, that means there is movement, that means there is production going on, and all these activities usually consume oil. So that means there is a demand for oil. And because of this resilient economy, majority are considering that the US oil might be buoyant for this week. Then another factor that will be affecting the market sentiment for this week is the skepticism in the recent production cuts announced by the OPEC Plus. Everyone is wondering if this will be enough to offset rising supply from countries outside the cartel and warning global demand. Then alongside this factor is the weak economic data from the top importer economy, that is China, which raises concern over fuel demand and should cap any meaningful appreciating movement of price action this week. Then, in fact, during last week, we heard from the China's general administration that the crude oil import for last month fell by 10%, which is a very significant number. And this, of course, could send some jitters into this market to incite some sell-off. So amidst all these factors here, we want to be looking at the current structure from a technical standpoint to see how we will be positioning ourselves for the next move. Now, with this information here, let's run through the higher time frame and let's see what is really going on from an holistic perspective and what we are going to be looking at to position ourselves for the next move today. Now, on the 4 hours time frame, which was where I started my analysis for this week, what I did here was to take into consideration the nature of price action since the month of October. And it is quite clear that price action has been on a strong bearish momentum, as you will see right here. And in fact, we can see how price action had transitioned into what looks like a descending channel. So if we connect the series of lower lows, we have the support line of that descending channel. And if we connect the series of lower highs here, we have the resistant line of that descending channel. And whenever price action falls within a descending channel, we usually want to be looking out for selling opportunity. Now, besides this range here is this imaginary line within the resistance and support line, which has been a major and key determinant of price action since the month of October. And this trend line here is going to be one of the trend lines we will be using to guide our trading decisions for this week. Now, another thing I would like to call our attention to is this on the structure is the support line of that channel. Now, look at when price gets into the support line, we usually see buy pressure resume. Look at price tested the support line here. It also tested it around this area, but the breakdown of last week's trading session never got even close to the support line before we begin to notice buy pressure resume around that area. Now, for me, this is a sign that we might likely be seeing a buying opportunity, a bullish momentum going into the new week. Now, in addition to these trend lines and channel, is our key level for the week, which is situated at the $72 area. Now, the key level is going to be playing a major role in determining the direction of price action for this week. And of course, you know how we use our key levels in this community. As long as price action remains below the key level, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of selling that asset. And the only condition that will make us start thinking of buying is for price action to break out of the key level. So with our key level situated at the $72 area right here, price action had remained above the structure until it broke down this level during the course of last week trading session. Now, the question going into this week is that will price action continue the downtrend in the form of, you can see we saw the breakdown of structure, and usually from a technical standpoint, we expect price to come back, retest the structure to incite a downtrend continuation. The other perspective that could happen here is for price action to break out, retest to incite an uptrend move. So you would agree with me that we are at a crucial juncture around the $72 area where, depending on how participants in this market react to the structure, will determine what our next line of action will be. Now, with this information we have gathered on the 4 hours time frame, let's scale down into the 1 hour time frame, where we will be able to see how market participants has been reacting to this level since the beginning of this week. Now, scaling down into the 1 hour time frame, we will begin to see things more clearly. Now, in fact, on the 1 hour time frame, I was able to identify some couple of trend lines which supported the bullish momentum since the second half of last week. Remember, we had the situation here. So I had some faintly identified trend lines. We have one right here, and in fact, I think we have something like an ascending channel with only one pivot low, and then we have this trend line right here, which of course has been supporting the bullish momentum in the last 3 to 4 days. Now, will this trend line continue to be respected to push price to the upside, or are we going to be seeing a situation where the trend lines will be broken to the downside to incite the downtrend continuation? Now, looking at the structure and looking at how price action started this week, you will see that price action appear to be confined within a range right now. That is the $71.98 level. We can approximate that to the key level, which is the $72 area, and of course the support line of that range at the $71.38 level, giving us a flat channel to work with. And usually whenever we identify this kind of pattern on our chart, we want to exercise patience, as this of course tells us that there is some level of uncertainty going on in this market. So we do want to be waiting patiently for a signal to give us an opportunity to trade. And one of the things we look out for is a breakout of the resistant line to give us an opportunity to join the uptrend scenario, or the breakdown retest of the support line to give us an opportunity to join a downtrend move. Now, with the situation we have here, you will see that as soon as price action got into that key level we identified at the $72 area, we begin to notice some selling pressure resume around that area, which for me is a sign that buyers are finding it difficult to break out of that structure. So what this simply means is that the only condition that will make us consider buying the USOILSPOT today is for price action to break out the resistant line. Then we can feel comfortable joining a bullish opportunity. However, if selling pressure continues to persist below the structure, then the breakdown of the $71.38 level will be all we need to join a decline to the downside. Now, another thing that makes this support line at the $71.38 level more crucial is the fact that it also shares a beautiful confluence with that ascending trend line we spotted earlier. Now, if price action does break down this ascending trend line, that will be a beautiful signal that the trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate the bearish attempt, hereby welcoming the idea of selling this asset. Now, with the fact that price action shares a confluence with the ascending trend line shares a confluence with the $71.38 level, which happens to be the support line of this range, I want to feel confident selling below that area. So it's reasonable at this juncture to have a sell stop order just right below the $71.38 level, just right below the descending trend line, and let's capitalize on a potential downtrend scenario, and let's ensure that we have our stop losses in place. Very, very important. Remember that every decision we make in the financial market is more or less an educated guess until price hits your TP target. So in that regard, you want to ensure you have your stop losses in place. And at this point, I will be suggesting anywhere above the $71.75 level, which will be dovetailing to about 30 to 40 pips stop loss on this one. And let's see how far this bearish momentum will go if it so happens that the support line gets broken today. So our center of focus for today's trading session is basically within this range, where depending on how price reacts or break out of the structure will give us an insight into where price is likely going to be heading to for the first half of this week. Now, another thing I want to mention here is that if price at any point in time gets into this ascending trend line or even close to it, and we begin to see some buy pressure resume, or let's say a reversal pattern like a double bottom structure or head and shoulder, we could be anticipating some buying opportunity early enough before even the breakout of the $72 level happens. But if something like that happens, I will definitely let you know in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform. So these are my views on the USOILSPOT for today. So you do want to be marking out these levels on your chart and the trend line, as we will be using them to guide our independent trading decisions for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move on to the next asset on our watch list. And you can use that time as well to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. So I can see a couple of comments here from Harry Tabe. Good morning to you, Tabe. Trust you're doing well. My namesake Sharif Abdulkadir. Good morning to you too. Road to Freedom. Good morning to you. Trust you all have a wonderful weekend. Hello Kelechi. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning. Trust you had a wonderful weekend too. All right. So, in the absence of no questions, I do want to assume that we are all on the same page, and in that regard, let's dive right into the next asset on our watch list. But if you still have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. I will be checking the comment section from time to time. So with that being said, let's dive right into the next asset. So the next asset we are going to be looking at this morning is going to be the cable market, usually known as the GBPUSD. And for those of you who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you must have gotten an update as to how we are going to be managing this position this morning, as we begin to see some interesting trading setup gradually unfold on our charts. Now, before I go into the details, I want to re-emphasize again that for those of you who had missed my weekend videos, I would encourage you to watch these videos, as it will give you a background knowledge on how we got to this level you're seeing on the 1 hour time frame. We only deliberate on the 1 hour time frame here, which is our execution time frame. So if you want to have a background knowledge, kindly check my weekend videos. The links are right in the description box of this current video, so you can check it out and then familiarize yourself with the holistic perspective in this particular market. So as at this morning, we have a beautiful range identified, which at least in the last 12 hours, you will see price action has been limited to that area within the 1.25580 level and the 1.25350 level, to further emphasize the uncertainty that is going on in the market. Can you see my screen clearly? Let me zoom it in a little bit so that we can see things clearly. So price has been within this range, indicating a lack of clear directional bias among market participants. And well, for me, this is not a surprise at all, as you know that whenever we have a week laced with high impactful events, we usually expect to see some choppy situations or some consolidation phases happen before that big move will happen in this market. And it appears we're beginning to see something like that going on at this point. But for me, I will say here that everything still looks promising for the pound sterling, as price still remains above key structures that suggest that buyers still have a say in this particular market. And for those of you who watch my video on the GBPUSD, remember that price action is currently sitting on an ascending trend line that we identified on the 4 hours time frame. And of course, you know how we use our ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price action remains above the ascending trend line, we want to feel comfortable in the buy position. So please watch that video. This is just the tip of the ascending trend line we identified on the 4 hours time frame, and the fact that price action remains above that structure opens up the chances that buyers are more likely to dictate the pace, at least for the first half of this week. Now, in addition to the fact that price remains above the ascending trend line, is our key level, which we situated at the 1.2500 area. Now, if you look at the higher time frame, you will see how this key level had played a major role in determining the direction of price action. And more or less prior to 2 weeks ago, it was more of a strong selling niche. And about 2 weeks ago, we saw price break out of the 1.25 level. And during last week trading session, we saw price come to test that 1.25 area. And as soon as it tested that level, you will see the nature of the candle that tested it transitioned into something that looks like a hammer candle, which from a technical standpoint reveals the presence of buyers still in this juncture in this market. So everything still looks promising in favor of the buyers. So as a result of this, I want to be placing my buy stop order. I already placed one above the 1.2580 level, which happens to be the highest level for this week. And if price can take out all the sell positions there, then for me, this will be a good opportunity to join an uptrend continuation. Now, remember, your stop losses must be in place. Anywhere below the ascending trend line seems most appropriate, and that will be dovetailing to between 20 to 30 pips, depending on where your entry point is. So we are not going to be buying unless price action breaks out of the 1.25580 level today. And another thing I would like to say here is that there is a conscious thinking process prevailing among market participants ahead of the crucial economic data and central bank meetings coming up later the week, as though the pound sterling maintains a positive bias at this point, but there is this sentiment now going on based on the NFP data that happened last week, that we might not be seeing a rate cut again by January by the first quarter of next year as expected. So this has caused an imbalance in the sentiment in the market. So everyone will want to see what the interest rate decision will become on Wednesday. Will it come as a surprise, or will it just come as expected to as well? So let's keep this perspective in mind. We maintain a bullish bias at the breakout of the 1.25580 level. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunities above the 1.25580 level, don't let us ignore the potentials that sellers could also come in, though price is above that ascending trend line. But if price breaks down the ascending trend line, what are we going to be doing? Are we going to be selling right away, or wait for some confirmations to happen? Well, if you would ask me, the fact that price action is sitting above our week's key level at the 1.2500 level will restrain me from just jumping into any sell position unless something very significant happens. Now, if price action at any point in time breaks down the ascending trend line, I want to see signs that the breakdown of the ascending trend line is not a false breakdown, and this usually reflects on the chart as buyers finding it difficult to climb back above the ascending trend line, and this would come on the chart as continued selling pressure below the structure, or a bunch or series of lower highs. Then we could actually take advantage of the sell position at that point. And then if price action goes on to break down the 1.25 area, then we shall be adding more sell positions to our existing trade. So that is how we intend to capitalize on any selling opportunity at this point in time. So trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates if anything of such will happen. But at this point in time, we maintain a bullish bias. Now, another thing we'll also look at here is these temporary trend lines, which I just faintly highlighted here, though they are not really that significant to the structure. They were identified on the higher time frame. So we have a couple of trend lines here, and if price goes on to break out of these trend lines, then we will feel very, very comfortable joining a bullish momentum in this market. So let's see how market will play out, and we shall be keeping ourselves updated as we continue to monitor price action. So if you have any questions, or you need some further clarifications as regards to the current structure, or you need me to clarify some certain things, feel free to drop them in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move on to the final asset on our watch list for today. So I got a message from Road to Freedom. It says that I got in a sell now. I'm thinking I might be wrong. I'm not sure which asset you're talking about. Sorry, next time whenever you are referencing yourself, please kindly mention the asset. But I do want to assume that the asset you're talking about here is the GBPUSD. If that is the case, no problem. You see, one thing about the financial market is one thing I usually tell the clients I work with on a daily basis is that there is no wrong or right in the financial market. The only difference is perspective, how you see the market and how I see the market. You can actually be selling for a short-term perspective, and in the long run, from an holistic view, it's within an uptrend situation, and you can be buying from a short-term perspective, and in a long-term perspective, it's a sell. It's a sell. So these are things that we want to be taking into consideration. Now, if you say you have sold, well, I wouldn't say you're wrong. You must have your own perspective and reasons why you said you will be selling at a point in time. But what I'm saying right here during our live session is that we have a range already, which we have identified on the current market structure, that will be guiding our decisions for today. No one knows what is right. No one knows what is wrong. You can only know what is right when price action finally hits your TP target. But at the time you're having your planning your entry, or probably when your trade is running, there is no right, there is no wrong. So I don't like that particular word, right or wrong, whenever we are. So I just wanted to address that. So right now, what we are doing is we have an edge which we are using to guide our decisions going forward, and to guide our trading decisions on the GBPUSD for this week. We already have an ascending trend line, which I did emphasize earlier. And for those who had not watched my video on the GBPUSD, please go ahead and watch it so you can see how important this ascending trend line has been in this market in the last couple of months. And you know how we use our ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price action remains above the ascending trend line, we have no business considering selling that particular asset. And if we look at what we have here, it is more or less price action remains above the ascending trend line. And in fact, we also emphasized how as soon as price action tested the 1.2500 area on the last trading day of last week, we saw an immediate rejection of that area, which further emphasized the presence of buyers around this area. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but if we are going to consider selling this asset, we do want to see price break down this ascending trend line, and of course that support line of that range had a 1.25350 level before we want to be jumping into any sell position at this point in time. And in fact, I want to see significant confirmations to make sure that the breakdown is not just a false breakdown, but a true one before I jump into any sell position. So this is what I am looking at. So let's see how the market will play out on that one. So I hope I shed more light to enlighten your perspective as regards to the structure. Road to freedom. All right, so I thought as much. GBPUSD. So I can see Aritabia says, besides daily analysis, do you have any mentorship program running? Yes, of course, Haritabe, I do have a one-to-one mentorship program which is specifically designed for traders who already have the basic understanding and basic knowledge of the financial market, and they do know the basic tools necessary to make trading decisions, but they struggle with consistency. So if you have someone of such, if that resonates well with you, then let's see if we can work together. I do have it in the description box below mentioning that. You can contact me via mail, and let's see if we can work together on that one. So with that being said, and in the absence of no questions, let's move on to the next assets on our watch list. But if you still have questions, drop them in the comment section. We shall be checking it from time to time. So the final asset on our watch list for today is my favorite asset, of course, which is the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And we begin to see some interesting trading setup unfold on the chart since the new week began. And for those of you who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you must have gotten an update as to how we are going to be managing this position. Now, let me say this again. If you had not watched my weekend video on this asset, please do, as it will give you a background knowledge on how we got to this point. As in those videos, I was able to do a top-down analysis explaining how we will be positioning ourselves for this week. The links are right in the description box of this current video you are watching. Now, this morning, while trying to dissect or decipher where price action is likely going this morning, I was able to come up with a simple setup on this chart after noticing that price action, price action has been oscillating right around that $2,000 level. Remember, during my video on the XAUUSD this weekend, I did emphasize how important the $2,000 level is and how it's going to be playing a major role in helping us decide what our next course of action will be on this particular asset. So we have the $2,000 level right here, and you will see that since the beginning of the week, price action has been oscillating, or let me say hovering around this key level at this point, which further emphasizes the importance of this current juncture we are in at this particular point in time. Now, from a fundamental fact perspective, the geopolitical uncertainties are maybe acting as a buffer, potentially curbing any further declines ahead of the crucial economic event scheduled for later this week. However, it is important to recognize that the gold is still facing some selling pressure. Remember, throughout last week's trading session, we were able to scoop in over 700 pips in profit on this particular asset as we rode the momentum all the way to the downside. Though we had some setbacks, we had some couple of stop losses during the midweek after taking on some short-term long positions which never did very well. But in total, we were able to scoop in over 800 pips on this particular asset. And this sell pressure cannot be ignored as price, as you will see, just broke down that support line at the $1,995 area. So it's important that we exercise a lot of patience waiting for very significant confirmations before jumping into any position. Now, part of the fundamental factors that will be driving this market is that could be causing the sell pressure that we are noticing right now, maybe attributed to the stability in the equity markets right now. Then we also have reduced expectations for a March Fed rate cut. Now, these expectations have reduced now due to the resilient US economy at this point. Now, we have a very resilient labor sector. We have a resilient economy, which the Michigan publication on Friday revealed that the level of confidence in the U.S. economy by consumers has increased higher than the previous month, which a very positive signal that the U.S. economy is very resilient at this point. And this could be a signal that this will increase inflation rate, and this shows that the inflation rate that has been battled for the last 2 years is still very sticky. So this might likely incite some interest rate increase. It's very possible. We don't know what's going to happen this week. So we're going to continue to monitor price action around this area. So the support line at the 1,995 is where price action has been in the last, around that area is where price action has been in the last 4, 5, 6 hours now. And we already have a breakdown of the support line. So now let's see a retest of structure, and it appears it is happening right now. So placing a sell stop order below the 1,995 level seems most appropriate to capitalize on a downtrend continuation. So we have a breakdown already. Price has come back to retest structure. Let's see if the bearish momentum will continue, and at that point a sell stop below the $1,995 area seems most appropriate to join a downtrend move. And to further buttress that is the fact that price action remains below our key level at the $2,000 mark. And of course, you know how we use our key levels in this community. As long as price remains below the key level, we want to continue to look out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of selling that particular asset. And with the case scenario here, that is the case here, looking out for selling opportunities below the 1,995 level. Now, in as much as we're looking out for selling opportunities, we cannot ignore the potentials of buyers. I was even saying in my commentary this morning that if price was unable to break down the 1,995, we might be seeing a reversal setup unfold on the chart, maybe into a double bottom structure to incite a breakout of the resistant line of that range, which could also be serving as the neckline of that double bottom to incite an uptrend scenario here. Now, since price has now broken down the support line at the 1,995 level, then this reversal setup in the form of a double bottom structure has been negated at this point in time. However, we still cannot ignore the potential that a reversal pattern could still come in. In fact, it could come in the form of a inverse head and shoulder pattern where the breakdown of the support line at the 1,995 level could transition into the head of that inverse head and shoulder pattern where price comes back and we have something like this to incite an uptrend continuation. So if we are selling below the 1995 level, we want to be very cautious and be aware of the possibility that this setup could still transition into a reversal pattern at this point. So if we are selling and price moves significantly well, let's ensure we move our stop losses accordingly. Move your stop losses to break even, and let's see if the market will continue that momentum or retrace back to transition into a head and shoulder pattern and then break out of the 2750 to incite an uptrend move. So the week is still very, very early, and whatever momentum we see here today may not likely be the pace at which the market will be going for this week. But in the meantime, we position ourselves below the 1995. We might say price might reverse, and it wouldn't reverse and just continue to nosedive to the downside. So we do want to be part of that move as well. So these are my view on the XAUUSD for today. Very simple setup. Let's see how the market reacts to the 1995. Anywhere below the 1995, welcome selling opportunities. And if price breaks out the 2750, we look out for buying opportunities. But one thing is, we could still see an opportunity to buy even before the breakout of the resistance line happens. But trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my Trading View and Telegram platforms to give you updates as at when due. So these are my views on the XAUUSD for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. And that reminds me that I'm yet to drop the link to the XAUUSD live window in the comment section. So I will just do that right away. And you want to be clicking on that link. Hold on a second. Okay, so we have this right here. So I just dropped the link to the XAUUSD live window right in the comment section, so you can check it out. Click on the link, click on the notify me button so you can get notified as soon as we come on live. So the XAUUSD live window is a platform where we usually come together on a daily basis to follow up real-time price action of the gold asset during the New York session. So it usually kickstarts about 5 to 10 minutes into the New York session and lasts for about 5 to 7 hours depending on the volume of trading activities for that day. So I look forward to seeing you all during the XAUUSD live window as we make an event out of it. So with that being said, here we have come to the end of today's trading session, the first edition for this week, and I do hope we all had a wonderful moment out there. And if you have found this content helpful and useful in making your own independent trading decisions for today's trading session, I will really appreciate your support by giving the video a thumbs up. Your likes are very valuable to me, and in fact it also helps the algorithm promote the video to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial to them. So let's grow this community together, and thank you in advance as you do so. And for those who had clicked on the like button, thank you very, very much. So with that being said, here I'm here to see any questions, so it's probably telling me that we are all on the same page here. And on this note, I will be rounding off for today's trading session. So today we were able to attend to 3 major financial assets, which is going to be on our watch list for this week, and they are the USOILSPOT, the GBPUSD, and of course the XAUUSD, all of which we were able to identify simple trading setup using fundamental tools such as trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to unravel the potential trajectory of price movement in the nearest future, and of course strategically position ourselves for the next move. So I encourage us all to exercise patience and allow our structures to mature before we jump into any trading positions. And always remember that every decision you make in the financial market is more or less an educated guess until price action hits your TP target. So in that regard, you do want to be having a well-defined risk management strategy to protect your portfolio against any sudden pullback that may happen and move against you at any point in time. So with that being said, here it has been a wonderful moment with you guys, and for those of you who joined us for the first time, I do hope you are able to gain one or two things from what we discussed here today. And if you do, you want to be part of our subsequent edition, trust me, the more time you spend with us here in this community, the better you will become in understanding our analytical approach and eventually be able to use that information to make your own independent trading decisions. So on this note, I wish us all the best of luck and hoping to see you in the comment section of both my Trading View Telegram platform and of course during the XAUUSD live window today as we continue to monitor price action. Trade smart, trade consciously, and do have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.